So yeah, this is a video. I'm just gonna react to this person, IAmTFish. They made a video called "Why People Secretly Dislike Introverts."
Don't say that they dislike introverts. That would, sound bad. Instead, they say things like, "You are too quiet, you're hard to read, why don't you talk anymore, or why don't you talk more, or you're kind of distant." And what this really means is you don't make me feel comfortable. And that's kind of the part that nobody likes to talk about, because most people don't dislike introverts for who they are. They dislike introverts for what introverts don't give them. Introverts aren't people that give you instant validation. They don't give you consistent or constant feedback, and they don't perform socially on command. And in this world right now where everybody's so performative and addicted to noise, that solace in who they are kind of feels threatening to the mass majority.
Yeah, it's just, I'm an introvert myself, and it gets pretty tiresome sometimes, that more people just don't understand what an introvert is and kind of the qualities of an introvert. And I'm not saying that me and every other introvert are exactly the same. There's differences. There's variations between every introvert or every extrovert or ambivert or whatever people are. But yeah, like he said, they really, people, a lot of people, they are just not comfortable that we don't just speak to speak. We are okay with moments of just silence and being around people not saying anything. um if I don't have anything to say, and I don't really, if it's either something I don't care about or something I just don't know anything about, I'm not going to comment. I'm not really going to say anything. I'm not just going to make idle conversation. Like, the introverts don't do that. Like, that's just not our language. And yeah, I mean, we just tend to keep to ourselves.
Majority of people. We live in a world, we live in a culture that rewards visibility. The loudest voice in the room is assumed to be the most confident. The person who talks the most is assumed to be the most competent. And the one who's always on is assumed to be the most likable. So when someone shows up calm, reserved, observing, it short circuits people's expectations. Humans are wired to read social cues pretty quickly. That's kind of how we judge people. So you're looking for eye contact, you're looking for facial reactions, verbal affirmation, nods, laughs, small talk. Introverts often skip like half of it. Not because they're rude, not because they don't care, but because they feel the need to not fill the silence with noise. They don't feel that need at all. And silence makes people uncomfortable. Silence forces people to hear themselves think. If you guys ever want to mess with yourselves in this world of fast-moving dopamine, I see this trend sometimes where people just raw dog 15 minutes. Just raw dog 15 minutes of your life and try it out. So silence, like I said, makes people feel uncomfortable. Silence forces people to hear themselves. That's the reason introverts get disliked. They don't help others escape their own thoughts. Most people use conversation as emotional regulation. Talking keeps anxiety down, talking fills the space, and talking reassures them that they're accepted. And introverts don't always play along. They don't jump in immediately. They think before they speak. They listen more than they react. So the other person starts projecting. Are they?
Yeah, that's really true what he just said. Introverts, especially, it's a little different. Like, if I'm really comfortable with the person and I know them, then it's a little different. But like, if I'm around people, or maybe let's just say I know these people but I don't know the other people, and I'm in a big social gathering, like extended family or a big party or whatever, um I just kind of sit, quietly think. I don't just, I want to think about what I want to say, because the thing with introverts is we tend to choose what we tend to try to choose our words very carefully in social situations. And we kind of just, if we feel the need to say or add something to a conversation, we will. But like, we're not just gonna talk to just talk. We're not gonna jibber jabber to jibber jabber. We're very methodical with it.
Did I say something wrong? And why aren't they responding like everyone else? Instead of sitting with that discomfort, people turn it outward. They decide that the introvert, the person not talking at all, is the problem. Another reason introverts get disliked is that they break social scripts. There's an unspoken contract in a lot of social settings. Smile, laugh at the right moments. You ask very surface level questions. and you pretend, this is the important part, you pretend to be more interested than you are. And introverts, in general, are terrible at pretending. They'd rather say nothing than say something fake. They'd rather stay quiet.
Yes, what he just said. Like, there's nothing I hate more than just people just being fake. Like, I can't fake anything. If I don't have anything to add to the conversation, I don't have anything to add. And then if people want to be like, why am I so quiet? Why am I not saying anything? I'll just be honest. I'd be like, honestly, I don't have much to say or add in this conversation. So, I mean, I'm sorry I can't contribute, but I mean, it is what it is.
Right? That perform enthusiasm they don't feel, and they'd rather disengage than lie however they need to. And then honesty reads as rejection. Someone who relies on social energy to feel validated, an introvert's neutrality feels like judgment, even when it's not. Introverts aren't judging, they're just conserving their own energy. There's no reason for it. So, in a world that's extroverted, energy conservation looks like disapproval. There's also a myth that being quiet means being weak. And somewhere along the line, we confuse confidence with volume. The loudest person in the room is often the most confident, is a lie. So if you speak softly, people assume you lack authority. If you pause before answering, they assume you're unsure, or maybe you're stupid and you don't know. If you don't jump into debates, they assume you have nothing to say. In reality, introverts just think slightly more deeply, and they don't broadcast every thought that comes across their brain. But in modern culture, it doesn't reward this kind of depth that they have. It rewards immediacy. Fast responses, hot takes, instant opinions. Introverts operate on delay. They process everything. They want to understand before reacting. They want clarity before they commit to anything, and they want meaning before noise.
Yeah, that's really true. Introverts, if we take time, if you ask us a question and we take time to answer, like, we're just trying to think about how we want to answer, we're thinking about it deeply, like, because introverts, we're very internal, like our internal minds are just a wonderland, honestly. Like, we think many different thoughts, we have a whole lot going on in our minds, but we don't necessarily share every single piece. We kind of prefer quality over quantity. For me, that goes for both with people in my life and the words I say, and especially depending on the situation. I'd rather just say something meaningful than just, talk around in a circle for no reason. Like, there's no point in that to me.
And that delay makes people impatient. Impatience turns to irritation. And irritation eventually turns into dislike. Another problem is introverts make insecure people feel exposed. If you're constantly talking, joking, explaining yourself, and someone else
Yeah, I'm gonna cut off the video there because it's getting kind of long on my phone, and it's easier to upload shorter videos. Okay, I'm gonna cut it off.